So we'll be talking about neck angle, neck resets. Most neck resets are a band-aid to the original problem. This is a typical case. What's wrong with this guitar does need enhanced neck angle. The neck angle needs to be reset. Because the string pull over the years causes the entire neck to be pulled down and in. And it's actually warps the guitar in this area. Now these guitars don't cost a lot. They were well made, and the hide glue lets you take them apart. Some guitars are going to be a real pain to take the back off, so people basically cheat by removing the neck, changing this angle here. It's hiding a dovetail joint. Recutting a dovetail joint in a reset is, you got to know what you're doing. So in cases like this, the neck angle can be restored and enhanced, but right now we're just talking about restoring it. I can see that this thing is down. Now, one thing that I've done, this isn't the tool, but what the heck, is I've broken the glue loose so that the fretboard is no longer bonded to the top. When they make these, they actually have to push this fretboard down a little to glue it to the top. I'm hoping over the years that if it bends back here and it'll straighten out, but it never does. It helps push everything down. Now, this is a piece of particle board. It has a certain name. It's not MDF. It's one up from that. It's very fine particles. And this is relieved. This is a fixture board. Eventually, you'll need another hole here if your top has a bridge still attached. This one does not. So, this fits in that slot. Now, this is absolutely flat. The fixture board is flat. And the top, for our purposes, should be flat. And let's see if we, right here, I'm pushing down. This thing is raised up about a 1/16 of an inch, maybe 50 thou. And I could see it on the other side now. One thing I did was I've removed this brace. This brace has taken the curve, the set of the warpage. I've removed it. This allows it to be flexed. Now we're going to do a couple of things here. Anyway, we need to warp this back down to its original flat position. The process of pushing this down will actually cause the neck angle to come up. Watch back here. See it? Get some stuff out of the way. But it's this distortion right here, when I remove it, is causing the neck angle to change by about 2 degrees. Here we go. So now I have to point out that once the back is off, the neck angle can be manipulated a little bit, but it's where where it was intended to be, and you can see that we've removed 2 degrees, enough to get it back to stock, which was not quite enough. So my point is that if you can remove the distortion, in many cases you don't have to remove the neck. That's what we're going to do in this case. But in the process of putting it back together, we're going to take advantage of this looseness to make sure that the neck angle is 3/8 of an inch. That's the nominal. Now moving right along. What I've done here is I've decided that these braces are robust, they're well glued, and you can see this is, having had a tailpiece, it's a Virgin bridge pad. So what I've done is I've radically shaved these 2 braces, and I'm going to continue to shave them because they are just way too robust. This brace will get glued back in after I flatten the bottom of the brace and flatten this with weight and some water, the famous graviton force module process. It's coming up. So I'm an engineer, so I look at things, the structure of things, a little differently. I was showing that this bent, that this thing is flexible. You can see this all moving just a little bit, but there's a significant resistance there. And you're going, well, why the back is off, you know? And this stuff's only less than 1/8 of an inch thick. But this is a good 3/8, maybe more thick. And the hide glue has filled all the gaps. So it's made this, in effect, a piece of 3/8 inch thick plywood. It doesn't want to move, but I want it to move as a part of resetting the neck. So I'm going to remove the hide glue. This is the secret. This is the most important part of doing this. Just about. Dab, dab, dab. The dab, dab guy is the guy who replaced the happy little trees guy. He had a different method of cleaning which used Mighty White. Now, will it be easier to move this? A little. Not as much as I thought, but it definitely is easier to move. And everything will be happier. So, we'll see what happens next. So, we're in 8% humidity approximately. So paper towels. We're going to be shooting a little on there too. These things will dry out before you can whistle Dixie. Now we are going to add the famous Graviton Force Module. Get the urge to compose the Graviton Force Module commercial from time to time, but have yet to. You have to make sure it's not hitting, it's not up on the kerfing. That would be bad. So, they're in there. And have they are modular, but in this case, modular indeed. Here we go. They're so adaptable. Now I've got one here just to make sure it's flat. I will probably throw one more brick on here just for the fun of it. This is going to stay like this overnight. Now, back here, I'm going to jack this up a little bit just to gain a little extra neck angle as this thing dries out. It'll tend to be up a little further, the precision shim. That's not tall enough, but it is now. Oh yeah. I just want to make sure that it's not lifting it's not lifting this off. So the most important thing to remember is I broke the fretboard extension glue joint to allow it to flex easily and not restrain the top from finding its flatness. So sometimes I might come out and give it a few shots in the middle of the night with the sprayer, but this is a mild warpage, and it should be ready in the morning, or let's say after lunch. So it's afternoon of the next day. It's flat. There's our, this is the neck has assumed its natural angle now. It's assumed its natural angle. I'm not touching it. Back where it was, when I put the body back where it should have been, there you go. Boom. So, some things have happened, and right now I've just finished using my tool to generate more shavings from these braces. I'm going to do a little more on them, and then we'll come back and look at what I've done here. So, this brace was original. There was another one across here. I removed it prior to flattening the top. Once it was flat, I put it back on the fixture board and added this piece of 1/8" birch plywood. I usually use single ply birch, but I had this piece and all like that. Then I added these braces, and I'm pretty sure, and they're tied right back into the block. It's going to be very strong, and it'll never have that warpage problem again. And then up here, you can see the piles of, I've had 2 sessions of reducing the mass of those braces, and I'm estimating they're where I want them to be. They were just going to kill the sound. This was equipped with a floating bridge and a tailpiece, and these were mostly there to keep the pressure from the tailpiece from collapsing the top, especially when you add the string pull. Now, let me get the bridge here. I know where this bridge is going to be located. It's going to be 1 foot from here. It's a 24-inch scale. It's 12 to the body, and another 12 to there, and that puts this bridge right about there. So the bridge pins, when I drilled through, obviously from the other side, we're going to be breaking this edge. So right now I've added an equal thickness of birch, and I may put another strip over this, just where the bridge pins are going to come through, because it may end up right on the seam. It doesn't really matter that much, but anyway, I've extended the bridge plate. And we're getting ready to put the back on. So this is 20 mil, 20 thousandths of an inch thick carbon fiber. It's got a ring closer to glass than plastic. It's going to go here, just to, it'll mean no splintering forever, and it won't hurt the sound at all. It may enhance it. So I'm getting ready to put the back on. So now we have extended the bridge plate and added a carbon fiber plate for the ball ends of the strings. We've radically reduced these 2 braces. This is completely different. And this is a strap jack. These blocks are bigger than any contemporary guitar. These are for contemporary guitars, so they won't fit. So I've countersunk, and otherwise removed enough material to get it to work. This will go in later. So this has been sanded and leveled and glued, and the same for this. Everything is hunky-dory, Don Quixote. Yeah. Anyway, it's time for monkeys and footballs. Okay, I used my board, and Most of the back is held on with masking tape. That's how they're made. Anyway, the back is on. Let's see how we did. More or less. We could measure. Looking for 24 1/8. Because that's 12. 24. And 8. More or less. Put the straight edge on. And we're on the money. That's the height we want. The height here. This is a slight arch in the top of this. When I flatten it, this will be exactly on top. Boom. That's where you want it. So, we reset the neck without pulling the neck, and provided for a pickup and the use of a pin bridge instead of that terrible floating bridge. There's going to be a TERS mate to this too that I have to keep thinking about when we get to details. There'll be lots of them.